He didn't even call me. After everything I'd been through, fighting in wars, recovering from surgeries, losing close friends, I opened my phone and saw just one message from my dad. Don't bother coming this Christmas. We think it's best if you stay away. No, how are you? No, we miss you. Just cold words like I was being fired from my own family. My name is Rachel Monroe. And wherever you're hearing this from, please listen closely. Have you ever been through hell only to come home and find the door locked by the people you thought loved you? The military taught me how to hide emotions, but that message, it hit me harder than a bomb. My mom didn't say anything. My brother stayed silent. It felt like they all agreed to shut me out right before Christmas. I sat alone in my tiny one-bedroom apartment in Fayetteville, looking at the blinking Christmas lights I'd put up, wondering what I did to deserve this. I texted one word back. Fine. And I meant it. Not the kind of fine that hides pain. The kind that says, this is over. You don't get to hurt me again. I closed my laptop, canceled the flight I'd booked 3 weeks ago, and poured a glass of wine. I raced it to the air. To family. 5 days later I woke up to 10 missed calls. One from my brother. One from my dad. 4 from my mom. And 1 from their lawyer. That last one made my heart stop because by then it was too late. Too late to take back what I'd already done. Too late to unsend the letter I had mailed. Too late to fix the damage. They thought I'd come back like always, quiet, forgiving, desperate for love. But this time I was different. I had new armor. And they were about to see what happens when a daughter stops trying to win her father's love. Let me take you back, before the silence, before the message, before everything broke. I was 18 when I joined the military. At my graduation my dad didn't hug me. He just said, don't embarrass yourself out there. That was his way of showing love, if you could call it that. But I didn't join to make him proud. I joined because I wanted to feel like I mattered. His home never felt safe. He looked at me like I was a mistake. When I became a sergeant, I came home for Christmas hoping for a little recognition. Instead, he told me to shovel the driveway before I'd even taken off my boots. No, good job. No, we're proud of you. Just grab a coat. My mom, he was always nervous, always whispering, just don't upset him. And my brother Tyler, he followed Dad like a shadow. He learned early that agreeing with him meant less trouble. So I tried to be the good one. I called on birthdays. Sent flowers for anniversaries. Sent money when they needed help. They never asked where it came from. Never asked what it cost me. Just cashed the checks. Sometimes they didn't even say thank you. So I hoped. Every year I hoped. For just one Christmas where I felt like I mattered. Where my seat at the table felt like a place I belonged. Not just a favor they gave me. But this year was different. I was finally done with the military. I had my discharge papers. A small pension. And a heart that had seen too much. I wanted to come home. Bake cookies with Mom. Hear about Tyler's new job. Maybe, just maybe, get a kind word from Dad. Instead of a phone call, I got that cold text from my dad. So I made a decision. 5 years ago, when I was home on a short break from the military, my dad asked me to co-sign something for the house. A second mortgage. I was only 25. He said it was just paperwork. Nothing serious. I was tired and wanted his approval, so I signed without reading it. Big mistake for them. Biz now. I legally own 51% of their house. They didn't know it yet. But they were about to find out. Funny thing is, I had completely forgotten about that mortgage. But after getting that heartless message from my dad, I started going through old military emails just to distract myself. And there it was. A copy of that signed mortgage. Everything was there. His signature, mine, official stamps. It was legal and binding. This time I read the fine print carefully. It said that if the main borrower, my dad, defaults or gives up ownership, the co-signer, me, gets control of the house until the loan is fully paid. Control. I sat there shocked. He had cut me out emotionally, but legally, I had more power than he realized. I wasn't just his daughter. I was the majority owner of his house. He needed me to sign that loan because of his bad credit. And I did, thinking it meant I finally mattered to him. But now, it meant I owned the house he loved so much. The same one he told me I wasn't welcome in. Felt like perfect justice. That night I called a lawyer I knew from a military seminar. I asked, what happens if a co-signer has majority ownership and the borrower tells her not to come home? He paused, then laughed. They shouldn't have said that. Because legally she can take over the house. I didn't warn my family. I just wrote a letter. It was simple, respectful, and legal. I am now exercising my legal right as co-owner of the property at 12 Windermere Lane. All future matters will go through my attorney. You'll be contacted soon. I mailed it by certified post, old-fashioned and deliberate. I wanted them to open it together and feel it. Then I booked a quiet cabin in the Smoky Mountains for Christmas. Snow fell. The fire crackled. I turned off my phone. 5 days later I turned it back on. 10 missed calls. One from a lawyer. And I smiled. Not out of revenge, but because I finally felt free. For once I didn't need their permission to feel at home. Because legally they were living in my house. My brother Tyler called first. Rach, what is this? Dad's losing it. He's talking about lawyers and eviction. What are you doing? I sipped my coffee, looked out at the snow and said calmly, I'm using my rights. Just like Dad used his right to tell me I wasn't welcome. You're really going to kick them out over one text? No, Tyler. Not yet. And I left it there. He stammered. Come on. It's Dad. You know how he is. Exactly. That's why I'm doing this. Because here's the truth. Sometimes the people who hurt you the most count on you staying quiet. They think you'll always come back begging for scraps. But I didn't need scraps anymore. I had a contract. And for the first time ever, I had control. Then their lawyer Harold Wells called. He tried to sound relaxed, but I could hear the worry in his voice. Miss Monroe, there seems to be some confusion. Your letter was a surprise and caused a lot of concern. I cut him off. There's no confusion, Mr. Wells. The documents are real. They're valid. I had the original paperwork. I had talked to my lawyer. So I made it official. I was taking control of the house. There was a pause on the other end. Then Harold, their lawyer, said, well, maybe we can work something out. A buyout maybe? Or transfer the mortgage. That's when I realized they were scared. Dad had missed payments again. He probably thought the bank would give him more time. But now he was facing something worse. Me. I leaned back and said quietly, I'm open to talking. But the first condition is that Dad calls me himself. Not through you. Not through Tyler. I want him to ask. Harold went silent. He understood. This wasn't just about the house. It was about being recognized. I hung up the phone and looked around my quiet cabin. No Christmas tree. No decorations. But it was peaceful. And that peace, I earned it, through pain, years of service and silence. What they didn't realize was, I wasn't the quiet daughter they could ignore anymore. Now I was their landlord. And Christmas was going to feel a lot colder at their house. On Christmas morning I got a call from Mom. Her voice was shaky. Rachel, please don't do this. Your father's furious. Tyler won't talk. Can't we just forget it happened? I almost laughed. Mom, I said gently, do you remember what Dad texted me? She didn't answer. I continued. He told me not to come home. Not this year. Not ever. Do you know what that does to someone who spent almost 10 years deployed? Who sent money, never missed a call or card. Still quiet. I spent my 26th birthday in the desert. Got ambushed. Called you after I made it out alive. Do you remember what you said? She whispered, I don't. You said, I'm glad you're safe, but don't talk about that around your father. It makes him anxious. And just like that, the truth hit. They never saw me as a daughter. Just a problem. A ghost they tolerated as long as I stayed quiet. Mom, I'm not doing this out of anger. I'm doing it because I finally understand, I was never welcome unless I brought something they needed. She started crying, begging me to stop. But I didn't change my mind. Because what she didn't know was, I had already filed the legal documents. The house was under my name now. And I had hired a veteran-run property management company to take over. They'd show up the next day. Not to evict anyone yet, just to make it clear. This was no longer their home. That afternoon I sat by the fire wrapped in a sweater, warm and calm. No presents. No family. Just peace. And something better than holiday cheer. Control. I didn't do this for revenge. I just reminded them. My name is on the deed. That day around 4 p.m. the property manager called. Hey Rach. We did the inspection. Your folks weren't thrilled, but we kept it professional. I asked, how bad is it? He sighed. Looks okay on the surface. But the basement leaks, attic's half finished and there's mold under the windows. Oh, And 2 bedrooms are rented out. College kids. No paperwork. I froze. They had rented out rooms for cash without telling me. They turned my house into a business. And still told me I wasn't welcome. It didn't make me angry. It insulted me. That night I wrote another letter. This one wasn't polite. As of January 2nd, you are given formal 30-day notice of management change. Your subleases are illegal. Rent collection is suspended. This property is under review for code violations. All contact must go through legal counsel. I signed it. Rachel Monroe, Sergeant First Class, U.S. Army, retired, co-owner 12 Windmere Lane. I sent it to their lawyer. Then I texted Tyler. Check your mailbox. Within an hour my phone lit up. Calls. Voicemails. Even one from Dad. I didn't answer any of them. Because now I had something every soldier recognizes. That moment when you survive. And everything goes quiet. They could cry. They could beg. They could scream. But I had survived them. And now they were living in my house under my rules. January 2nd came bitter cold. 3 cars sat in the driveway at 12 Windmere Lane. 2 I didn't recognize. I didn't go alone. I brought my property manager, a locksmith, and a folder full of legal documents. I wore a black coat, polished boots, and my army dog tags. I wasn't there to argue. I was there for closure. Dad opened the door, red-faced and angry. Rachel, what the hell is this circus? I didn't answer. I walked inside. My house. My terms. Mom stood on the stairs holding a rosary she never used. Tyler was on the couch, pale and silent. I took a deep breath. This is a legal transfer of ownership and control, I said. As of this morning, I'm in charge. You have 30 days. Sign a lease with me or move out. Dad exploded with rage. Relocate? You can't do this. This is our home, my dad shouted. No, I replied calmly. It's my investment. He snapped. I built this place. And then you defaulted, I said. You signed it over to a 24-year-old in uniform just to keep your credit clean with the bank. He went quiet. I looked around the room, the same living room I used to sneak into as a kid. The fireplace where my boot camp photo used to sit? Gone. Like I'd never existed. So I kept going. The renters already got their notice. If they're still here in 10 days, I'll file trespassing charges. If anyone tries to block this or damage anything, I'll press charges. Mom's voice shook. But where will we go? I looked right at her. I don't know, Mom. Maybe not home for Christmas. She started crying. Tyler stood up, maybe to apologize, but I held up my hand. I don't need words now. I needed them 10 years ago. What I need now are boundaries. As I walked out, the locksmith changed the front door code behind me. The snow crunched under my boots. The air was sharp and clean. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like their daughter. I felt like a woman who had come back stronger than they ever expected. They might call it cold. I called it survival. The final notice deadline came. January 31st. No fights. No phone calls. No drama. Just silence. Like they finally understood I wasn't bluffing. The next morning I showed up with a new key. The house was empty. No notes. No goodbyes. Just quiet. I walked through each room. In Tyler's old room I found a duffel bag tag from some ski trip they never invited me to. In the living room there was a long scratch on the floor, right where the coffee table used to sit. The same one I bought at 19 with my first paycheck from deployment. They'd told everyone they got it themselves. I stared at the scratch for a while. Not angry, just aware. Because sometimes, the deepest cuts are the ones no one sees. I didn't cry. I opened the back door and let the cold winter air blow in. I stood there letting the sunlight hit my face. This wasn't about revenge. This was about reclaiming something they tried to take. My dignity. My worth. My place. I turned the house into something new, a safe space for female veterans. Women like me who came home and felt rejected. We named it the Monroe House. When local news shared the story about a veteran reclaiming her childhood home, reporters started calling. But I didn't give them all the details. This wasn't about shaming my family. It was about healing myself. And when people ask me, was it worth it? I just smile. Because they'll never truly understand. I don't visit them. They don't call. But every Christmas I light a candle on the front porch. Not for them. For me. For the girl who once stood outside this house in the snow. Unwanted. He came home. And she made sure no woman like her would ever feel that alone again.